Shalom fam, it's your boy J Dub, aka King for Him. Also known as the Elder. Listen, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a raised bed for your raised bed gardening today. Okay, so right now we're in my workshop, and I'm going to show you a couple things that you'll need. Okay, firstly, you're going to have to get yourself some of these. This is, and this was actually on sale. Hold on for a second. This was on sale. Let me take you out. These are 2x8s. I bought this lumber from Home Depot, and all I did was, these come in 8-foot lengths. Now in my gardening, I make my beds 4x4. So I got these. They were on sale. Each board is an 8-foot length. They were on sale for $5. So I got 2 boards, and they cut them in half for me for free. Okay, so $10, and I'm about to make a raised bed. This is to replace that other bed that I had out of center block over there that's falling all over the place. So I'm going to show you today how to do this. Okay, so you get it here, you get it cut in half, and you make a 4x4 length, or you can just keep them whatever length you want. Okay, now the type that you need to get, this is untreated, and you want untreated lumber. You don't want that nastiness from treated wood to get into your garden, especially with stuff that you're going to be eating. If it was with flowers or anything like that, then I probably wouldn't care so much. But if it's going to be with your vegetables, you want untreated. Okay, and if you want it long term, then you're going to have to spend more money. Going to have to get something like cedar or something like that, right? I get untreated, regular plain, because it's cheap, and after a couple years or so, the last maybe 2 or 3 years, after 2-3 years, I'll just replace it and do the same thing, okay, and build my beds over again. So that's what you want to do, and I'll show you what we got to do next. All right, fam, this is the things that you're going to need. You're going to need a drill. You're going to need some exterior screws. Now I'm using these are what I'm using. Prime guard exterior screw, 2.5 inches. That's because I already had some. You can also use deck screws, but you want to make sure that they're exterior. All right. You're going to need your pencil, a pen, tape measure, and you're going to need a straight edge. All right. So here's the process. You're going to take your tape measure, and you're going to mark about 3/4 of an inch on the side. So 3/4 of an inch, make your mark. And I normally do about 3 of those. And I made one here already. Yeah, that's me, brother. I'm good. How are you? Appreciate it. Have a good one. That's my cop friend. He's making sure nobody broke into my house. All right, so once you do that, what we're going to do, all you got to do is make your drill holes. You're going to make a pilot hole first. Don't drill the screw directly in. You're going to split your wood. So I'm just going to take and make some pilot holes. And that's all you got to do. You see that? I started in doing one, and then you're just going to do that for each side. All right, so once you drill your pilot holes, all you do is you come out, you take it to a flat surface, and you're going to the board that has your holes drilled, so I got 3 holes here and 3 holes on the other end. I take another board and I line it up, and then we're going to just drill our deck screws, line it up, and then we're just going to drill our deck screws from in here to in here. Now, I'm not going to, these two boards here are kind of bent. They've got a bow on them. They're kind of like, you know, got a little curvature going on here, as you can see. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm not going to be able to record myself doing this because I'm going to have to hold this thing because it's uneven. But what you would normally do is just put the board down here, put the other board there, and you just take your screw and screw it into those pilot holes until it's all done. So we'll be back with the next step. Alright, so now we have our completed frame. So now the next important step, the next important step is you gotta have the right location. Okay, so let's talk location. Where do you want to plant it? Most places will say you got to plant it in a spot with at least 6 to 8 hours that's going to get full sunlight. I say it like this: depends on what you want to grow. If all you're trying to do is grow, say if you're using this box here, that's all it's going to be growing is lettuce. You don't actually need to put it in a spot with a lot of light because leafy vegetables don't need that much sunlight. And actually, when they get too much sun, that's when they start bolting and doing other things. Like a lot of my other veggies that I've grown, because I started early in the late winter, I still have things producing for me right now, so I never took them out. So right now they're starting to get a whole lot of sun and they're actually starting to bolt. So what you want to make sure is you plant it in a place depending on what you want to grow. Here's the rule: if it's going to bear fruit, it needs the sun. And that has a spiritual connotation too there, if you can catch that. But if you're going to bear fruit, if it has to bear fruit, such as tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, then it needs to get sun. If it doesn't bear fruit, then it doesn't need to have that much sun. All right? So this, and also you want to make sure, like if it rains, that you know how some places have, like, you know, it may puddle up in certain areas. You don't want to put these in a place that has a puddle, okay, or standing water. It's going to rot out your roots. You're going to get a whole bunch of disease and all that other kind of foolishness. So you don't want that, okay? So what we're looking for is you determine what you're planting in here, and that determines on how much sunlight it needs, and it needs to be, it can't have standing water, or like when it rains, can't be puddling, okay? All right, so let's figure out where we're gonna put this bad boy. All right, people, so we found our location. I'm gonna put mine here, right along with my other beds. All right, so here's the location I'm gonna put it. This is a little compost pile, and things are actually starting to grow in there now. Once you find the location, you wanna mark it out. This had something here before, so it's already pretty much marked out. Now here is a very, 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 very important part. What I'm going to do is dig all this stuff out that's in here. And I'm also, what you want to do is dig around your bed with all that grass and stuff like that. You don't want coming up. So you want to dig down in there, and you also want to dig around your bed so that you can you won't get the weed problem. Okay, now all these beds will give you weeds. For example, here's one of my beds. I got collard greens, I got Swiss chard, I got lettuce and all kinds of stuff going up in there. Now if you come down up in here, see that right there? That's a weed. That's a grass, piece of grass, right? Now, because I cleaned out from beneath, all I got to do when I see something like that is just pull it up, and root and all comes up, no problem. If you don't do that, so you're always going to have weeds, but if you don't do that, the grass is going to come from beneath and through your stuff, and then when you get to pull it out, all you're going to do is be pulling off the tops, and you're not really getting the bottom. So what you want to do is dig around, dig up and through there, right? And that's what you're going to do first. Don't just find the spot, dig up around it. And you also, and this is what I didn't do my first year, and I actually had to come back and do this all over again this year. Once you dig around and you put your box here, you're going to have to level the box. See, right now it's uneven. Let me back up so you can see. See, it's actually on a slant going down that way. Last year I had all my boxes on this, because this is kind of like a hill, and all of them slanted like that. And I said, oh well, no big deal, I'm gonna leave it like that. And what happened was, every time I watered, all the water will run to one side, and so I would have to sit on one side and water, and it was just all running down, and it became a hassle and a pain. I'm telling you, do it right the first time. Dig around, get all the stuff out, and make sure before you put any dirt in there, you make sure your box is level. That's why you need the level, okay? So you go to each side, make sure it's all level. Once that happens, then you can fill it up, okay? So let me do what I gotta do, and I'll get right back. All right, so we've finished our bed, and I got it filled up. Now, since y'all know I do the square foot method, so what I fill mine up with is a mixture, a 3-part mixture of compost, perlite, and peat moss. Okay, so once you get it all filled up, according to the square foot method, you're supposed to use more than one type of compost. I use like a generic bought organic humus, but I also use my own compost that I make, and that is, like, you know, rich, because I use all kinds of different things inside of it. So once I get it like this, if you're not using the square foot method, you can go right from here and make it happen. What I do is, I'm about to finish this thing off by making my grids, okay? And so I'm going to make my grids, and I'll show you the finished product. Let me tell you a couple other things that I do, y'all. And I guess I might as well show y'all how I do this. I'm doing a square foot method, right? So some people use like a hard lattice or build in a frame. I don't do that. I use simple. I go in, and every foot I will bang a nail, right? And I do that all the way around. Then I take some masonry string, and I just go up and down, up and down, up and down to make my grids. I use this. Why do I use this? It's cheap. At the end of the season, or like beginning of the next year, all I do is cut this string, and I go into my beds and weed out and get rid of all the roots and stuff from the previous year, and then the nails stay, and then the next year I just make my grids all over again. Okay, cool. Now there's a couple things I didn't tell you guys that I add into my when I first do a bed. Even though I have compost in there, and that's good, I do use some other things that I put in there. I put coffee grounds. Now, I don't drink coffee, but a couple people from the congregation, they hook a brother up. So I take the coffee grounds, I sprinkle it all up in there. What this does is add some nutrients to it. Now this is not fresh, these are ones that have been cooked already, so this is after you make coffee you want to use this, not like raw. And then you sprinkle it around in there. What that does is gives it, you know, some nutrients in there, but it also attracts earthworms like crazy. My beds have worms in them like crazy, which is you know, they are awesome for growing. Another thing is I use a fertilizer that I put in here. This is the stuff I use. Organic Garden Tone. See that right there? For organic gardening. Now what I do is I take a couple cups of this stuff at the beginning of the season, and I sprinkle it all through there, and then I you know, mix it all in with the ground. And that stuff, you know, I only do that kind of fertilizer maybe once or twice. But I use like normally I do that like at the beginning of the spring and at the beginning of the fall. I may do that using that stuff there. It, you know, feeds for a couple months. It's not like a one-time shot. But I also use another kind of fertilizer, which is a liquid fertilizer that's organic as well, and I'll do that every maybe 3 weeks. So all the fertilizers and stuff that I use are organic, plus the nutrients from my compost. That's how my plants get fed. All right, so I'm going to put this stuff inside here, and then I'm going to draw my grids, and then I'll show you the finished product. All right, fam, so here we go. Here's the finished product. 4x4 square. I've added a trellis because I'm going to be putting some vine growing plants right there. And that's it. This box here is going to be used for my squash that I have growing on my porch right now. And because I haven't built this box, they're still growing in I don't know, old iced tea jars right now. But they're huge, so I had to build this thing today so that I can get them things out of here. So I'm going to have 2 squash plants in here, 2 zucchini plants, and 2 what do they call those things? Spaghetti squash. The spaghetti squash is what I'm going to try to grow on this vine here. I mean this trellis here, and we'll see how we work that out after that. All right, peace, fam. So, get to growing. Get to growing. Get to growing.